Hello everyone, Gary Michaels here. In this episode I'm going to break down Chris Rock's most recent appearance on Saturday Night Live. We are going to dissect the entire cold open performance. We're going to see what are the basics of comedy being used, how can we use them in our own comedy writing and performance, as well as getting to sit back and watch one of the greatest of all time. If you want to watch the performance without my interruptions, I will put a link to the performance in the description box. You can check it out and enjoy it for yourself. Right, I got the performance loaded up. Let's get into the theory and enjoy Chris Rock on Saturday Night Live. Here we go.
Thank you! Thank you very much! Yes! Welcome to Saturday Night Live. This is the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. Been around for 50 years. I want to congratulate Lorne Michaels on 25 great years of Saturday Night Live.
Okay, straight away, Chris has used a real basic in comedy, and he has done it incredibly effectively. What he has done is brought everyone together, and how he's done that is he's pointed out something they all have in common. Everyone in that room is at Saturday Night Live, so therefore they know about Saturday Night Live, they know about who writes for it, they know about who runs it, they know a little bit of information, and he can poke fun at that. I have told you time and time again in these videos, when you approach the stage, the first thing that comes out of your mouth should be something that connects the audience together. It doesn't need to be something you've prepared ahead of time. It doesn't need to be one of your long-winded stories. It just needs to be a quick observational point of view about the room you're in, about the night itself that you are performing at. Chris has done this massively by bringing everyone together, getting a very quick laugh at the very top of the show, mentioning something about Saturday Night Live. It gets the whole crowd together, gets them all focused, and now they're ready to go for the ride. Let's continue on.
A lot going on in the news. My God, it's so crazy out there. It's so hard just getting in the building tonight. So much security. My God. I had to walk by a bunch of baby oil sniffing dogs. It was insane. Everybody's worried. I mean, we got Luigi. You know.
Okay, I'll stop it here and I'll jump back in. He's quite building the tension here, isn't he? He's building a little bit of tension with a couple of punchlines now and then. He's mentioned the security, and he's mentioned a little bit of a reference to the P. Diddy allegations and all what's going on there. A little bit of a current affairs reference, and now he's after moving into another reference.
That's good. I really feel sorry for the family. I mean, everybody's fixated on how good looking this guy looks. If he looked like Jonah Hill, no one would care. They'd already given him the chair already. Be dead, okay?
Okay, I'll jump in here. Chris is now on to his first topic he wants to cover, which is Luigi connected to the CEO, healthcare killings, and all that kind of glorious stuff. Now, Chris does not need to give too much information about what it is he's talking about. He names Luigi and he goes immediately on to the funny. He goes immediately on to what people are talking about that's bizarre in this case and how good looking the person involved is. Notice, this is very important. When you're talking about current affairs, if you're talking about what you believe the whole audience to already know something about and already to have opinions on, therefore, you don't need to give much information about this. They already know. They already have their own information about it. So you can go straight to the punchline. You can get straight into the humorous material, which Chris has done here. He's gone straight for everyone believing that this person is so good looking, and then he immediately goes and connects it to Jonah Hill. And well, if he looked like him, it wouldn't be the case. And then he exaggerates on that punchline. So he's got one punchline just being Jonah Hill, gets a little bit of a laugh, and then he exaggerates on that again, a secondary punchline on top of that, and talking about if he wasn't that good looking, he would have got, if he looked like Jonah Hill, he would have got the electric chair. And he finishes with a very hard hitting word, he'd be dead. End of that whole phrase. It's a whole connected phrase, two punchlines finishing with the word dead, and it gets a really, really great reaction from the audience. It's a kind of a shock value laughter, and he just does it better than anyone else, really. Let's move on.
But he actually killed a man, a man with a family, a man with kids, man. I mean, I have condolences. I'm gonna have real condolences for, the healthcare CEO. I mean, this is a real person, But you also gotta go, sometimes drug dealers get shot.
Okay,
All right?
listen to how
I mean, you seen The Wire, right?
long. Listen to how long that round of applause is. It's the first time he's really given them a moment to gather their thoughts again. It's the first time that tension has been properly released. And how he's done this is before that line, he didn't have any punchlines for the longest time since he's been on stage. He said how he felt for the family. It's a human being, it's a life lost. And he builds up the tension. And then he brilliantly drops the tension by going, well, sometimes drug dealers get shot. And it's a complete other point of view of seeing it. And it's not a point of view that's so unique and different. It's just the opposing point of view to have. That's all he's done here. He's just been on one side of the discussion. And then as a punchline, he's just said what someone else on the other side of a punchline would say. Now, it's a harsh thing to say, but he gets away with it because of the tension he's created. And just before the punchline is said, he just breaks the character from that perception and has a little bit more of a smile. And Chris does this so well, he's going to give you that line and he's going to do it with charisma and it's going to be okay afterwards. That's important. He couldn't have said, well, sometimes drug dealers get shot with the same tone of his voice that he was describing a loss of life. He had to change his character. He had to change the way he perceives it before giving you that punchline, even though it is only a second or maybe not even that. But that's why we're looking in his face as his body structure, it kind of changes before that punchline comes in, and that's why it hits so hard and it gets such a long laugh. The tension in the room is completely eased, and we can move on. Absolutely brilliant stuff.
It's been a bad year for my people, the blacks. It's not been a good year. Kamala and Diddy and Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson. What the hell? Who is it?
Okay, so it's very clear that the next topic Chris wants to cover is Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. And in order to get there, he's used a little bit of transitions here. He's mentioned the Kamala, he's mentioned P. Diddy again, just in passing, right? Because what you need to do, if the reaction to one big punchline, right, which it was for Chris, was really big, you don't just want to go straight into your next bit talking straight away about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. You want to give the audience a little moment just to relax after that huge release and huge round of applause and huge laughter. You want to kind of calm them down a little bit. And Chris has used the passing of not a good year for my people into P. Diddy, into Kamala Harris, and he's used that as a kind of a mechanism to calm the audience down. Yes, he's still being humorous while doing it, but he knows these jokes aren't going to kill the audience. So it's not going to get the same reaction again, and that's perfectly fine. All they need to do is serve as a way to get to the next topic, which is Jake Paul. He's only going to go there when the audience is ready for it, when they're back focused again. And now we can go and listen to the material of what he has to say about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson.
Paul, a 27-year-old punching a 60-year-old man in the face? Is this what the white man has reduced himself to? Stop it! Well, who's he gonna fight next? Morgan Freeman? I hate Jake Paul. I got landlord hate for him. I hate him like cocaine hates monogamy.
Okay, absolutely brilliant. I think this whole thing is just genius. He goes into talking about Jake Paul. I don't believe that he says anything out of the ordinary about Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. I think the majority of us have the same thoughts in our head about that fight, about what took place. Now, if we're not interested in it, fair enough. It's not the best piece of his set if you aren't familiar with what happened. But most of us are familiar with what happened, and it's really good. It's not incredibly unique, as I said before, but by just observing the silliness of the entire situation, you can get loads of laughs. And I think all of us, one stage or another, has made fun of the idea of Jake Paul fighting a person who would be absolutely ridiculous, like a character like Morgan Freeman. I think a taxi driver just 2 weeks ago said to me that the next person he's going to fight was Joe Biden, which I thought was also hilarious. And I think the reason that he wants to cover all this is to get to an absolutely brilliant finisher for that small little bit. An incredible line. I hate Jake Paul. I hate him like cocaine hates monogamy. An absolutely fantastic line Chris clearly had, wanted to use somewhere, and a line like that you have that you might think it doesn't fit anywhere. Where am I going to say this? But you can put it anywhere, as Chris has pointed out, because anything to do with that, you can go, well, if I say, oh, I hate this like that, you can just go, well, who else do I hate? And you can have a story about them in your material. And then at the end, you can go, I hate them like, and you can do the line that you didn't think previously could fit anywhere. And Chris has shown you that it absolutely can. It's a fantastic line. And let's discuss the line itself for just a brief moment. The word cocaine has been personified, obviously giving meaning, giving it the ability to have feelings for another word it is not known to be connected to. And it's a perfectly weirdly rational thing to say that cocaine hates monogamy because of the amount of stories we've heard about people on cocaine, and it's certainly not connected to monogamy. And by having lines like this, you can open up all adventures in your comedy writing. Chris here has just used it as a one-liner, but you can put ability of feelings and emotions and whole personalities onto any word you like, any idea, any object you like when you're writing, and you can bring them to life and they can be your friend, because us comedians could all do with some friends. I don't know, maybe. Let's move on and get to even more Chris Rock.
The big thing, Trump, man. Trump, man. Trump had a good year, man. Trump survived an assassination attempt. Won the presidency again by winning the popular vote. Was just named Time Man of the Year. You know? It could happen to a nicer guy.
Okay, you can see here Chris is building the tension. He's started talking about Donald Trump in Saturday Night Live, an audience not known to really worship Donald Trump at all. So the tension is being built. One little punchline. Let's move on.
A lot of people are scared. It's like, oh my God, he's going to be so undignified. And when I say a lot of people, I'm talking about the 9 New Yorkers that didn't vote for him, okay? No.
Again, more tension, saying only 9 New Yorkers in front of a Saturday Night Live crowd voted for Donald Trump, but voted against Donald Trump. Yes, let's move on. Tension's being created. We know it's going somewhere, even though the audience, you can see it, sense now, the audience, the laughter is there, but certainly not as strong as it was. So where is he going with this? This is tension at its best.
He's going to be so undignified. It's the presidency of the United States. Dude, it's the United States presidency. It's not, come on. We've had some presidents in the United States. Come on, man. This is not the most dignified job in the world. We've had presidents show up to the inauguration with pregnant slaves, okay? And I'm just talking about Bill Clinton.
Wow, what a reaction. And he gives them a moment to gather themselves after that. That is just comedy done to perfection. The tension he creates over quite a long period of time now, because Chris is always in and out of the area of very, very quick one-liners, getting them laughing throughout, and then finishing with the best one-liner at the end, giving them a moment, and then coming back into it. And now, over the last, I don't know how long, but maybe 15 seconds there, maybe 20 seconds, he's done nothing really but created tension. He's had 1 or 2 little punchlines. That's important. Even while you're creating tension, you should still be keeping them chuckling along nicely. You don't just want to have information for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. There should still be 1 or 2 punchlines in there. They don't need to be incredibly strong, but it is a comedy show after all. It does still need to be humorous throughout. Now, Chris knows where he's going with this. The audience don't. We can feel the tension, and then he hits them with the pregnant slaves line, which is just wow, that's a hard line. That's a harsh line to say, and that seems like it's it. It seems like that's all where he's going to go. It gets a good reaction from the room, and then he hits them with another punchline on top of that. In fact, this might be the second or third time Chris has followed one punchline up directly with another killer punchline. Just when you think that this was going to be the punchline that releases the tension, and a large amount of tension was created. No, in fact, that was just the breaking of the ice and then the killer punchline. And I'm just talking about Bill Clinton. And of course, all the rumors and all the imagery and all comes flooding back into the audience's mind. Talk about material on current affairs. It just does not get better than this. Let's continue.
I mean, you know what country we live in. You know the history of this country. You know how many rapists are in my wallet right now? Swear, a cup of coffee in America costs 7 rapists. And Trump's gonna get it down to 3.
Look at that. One joke, 3 punchlines, and it's said as if it's a bit. Absolutely brilliant. He's finished up. He's did the Bill Clinton line, and he's got the reaction he got. It's more of a shock reaction in a room where some people are laughing and some people can't believe they're laughing at what they're laughing at, and then they realize, oh, it's all just a bit of fun, and then they laugh even harder, which is just fantastic. And then Chris moves on to the rapists line, which is, he's got the first rapist line, and then he's got a kicker, and then he's got an even exaggerated kicker on the end of it, which also acts as a callback for the Donald Trump line, and everyone knows what Donald Trump says about his own policies. This works so brilliantly because he's in front of an audience that, well, they're not known to be Donald Trump supporters. So this is great comedy because you don't need to be on one side of anything, of any belief system or political system as the other person. Good comedy should be just good comedy and enjoyed by everyone when done correctly. So let's move on.
That's right, man. So crazy. Menendez brothers getting out of jail. Menendez brothers. Yeah, getting out of jail. Just in time to get deported.
Yes, absolutely brilliant. He's got himself an idea here, another callback. He doesn't even need to mention Donald Trump this time. Everybody understands another policy issue and another very, very fun way of covering it. Now, what I'll say real quick is it's really interesting what he's doing. Chris Rock is kind of staying on point about Donald Trump, even though he's not always talking about him and he's not really highlighting him. He's not really doing anything with the idea of him, but he's using him as a callback, and he's using him as kind of the laneway in which to stay in, as he can cover all the other current affairs image. He's bringing it back, and he's going to continue on doing so for another little bit because we got a little bit of genius coming up right here. Let's check it out.
Trump is gonna deport their ass, you murdering Mexicans. Trump is not playing, man. That's right. This time is totally different. He's working with the #1 African American in the world, the richest African American in the world, Elon Musk.
Yep, I think the Elon Musk line is good. I don't think it's great. I think what's great is the way Chris told it. He put so much into the punchline. That's another technique we can just steal directly from him. Like, if you think you got a line and it's fine, like, believe in it, believe in it for telling your audience. Don't just kind of, well, this line isn't as good as my other lines, therefore I'm not going to perform it with the amount of charisma that I can. Like, see the way Chris sets his body language up to say the name Elon Musk. He says it as a showstopper, and so it gets that gorgeous reaction from a full-bodied audience, full-body laugh coming back. It's hard to tell how many people are in the room. There's not many, but they're all laughing. Let's move on.
That's right, he is African American. Elon got more kids than the Cleveland Browns. That's right, nobody knows how to get rid of people like a South African.
Oh. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, that reaction right there where you have the laugh and a large groan which turns slowly more into a laughter. I mean, if you do shock material on stage, there is no finer reaction you can get from your audience than laughter that turns into a groan, that turns back into a laughter again. It's like, you know, you're doing the right thing and you're, you know, hitting the right buttons in them in order to get that laugh. It's just exactly what you seek as a shock comedian.
Oh, he's serious. Trump is not playing. They got Elon. They're going to put him on a rocket ship. We call it Space Mex.
I feel the last little bit here is it's good comedy, but again, it's setting it up. It's setting it up for a punchline that's about to come that I feel Chris is really, really proud of, and he positions it so well because all of the lines he said so far, they're all humorous, they're all really, really well thought out, they're really great because it's Chris Rock, but they're not drop dead amazing lines. They're really good and we can enjoy it together, but it's not some of the material he's done already in this set that really killed the audience, and it's not what's about to come up as well, which in my opinion is my favorite bit of the whole show, is about to come up right here in a second.
Oh yeah, J-Lo's gonna marry Ben again just so she can stay in the country. I know she's not Mexican, but Trump don't know that.
Absolutely brilliant, yes. Look at that. Round of applause as well. Absolutely incredible. It gets an absolute release of tension, release of energy, one of the biggest pops he has in the entire show. Not only does it release the tension created by just him speaking in general, but he was wrong when he said it in the first place by saying that, well, she's going to get back together so she can stay in the country. And then he points out, hey, hang on, I know I'm wrong. And so, but even if you point out you're wrong, it's still creating tension. But he knows where this is going. He knows he's going to save himself by saying, well, but Trump don't know that. Now, the line, but Trump don't know that, the opinions people have on Donald Trump or people like him, the line, but Trump don't know that, would have worked, I believe, with nearly any topic or nearly any position of thought put before it. I think it really would have worked. It's such a strong line that no matter what Chris said before it, if he said afterwards, well, I know it's not such and such and such, but Trump don't know that, it would have got a good laugh. He decided to go with this line with J-Lo, and it absolutely worked. It's incredible. It could have been put anywhere in the set. It's just really great. And I feel that the whole Elon Musk thing was setting up the audience to hit them with that hard line. I think it's so important to, if you have a line that works so well for you, put in the humorous kind of stepping stones while you're still covering material and have that amazing line at the end of it. You mightn't feel like it's connected to the story because you're changing from Elon Musk to J-Lo and Ben, and then you'll see here it's absolutely connected because what you're talking about isn't necessarily Elon Musk, it's more Donald Trump. So in your writing, is there something that you're finding it hard to connect one topic to another topic? How about you have a third topic that both of these things might be connected to because of, well, it's an idea of immigration. So you have Elon Musk, you have J-Lo and Ben, you have Donald Trump as the transition between the two of them, only existing because of a policy he has in place. See how deep that joke is, how it's rooted so well. And then the whole thing is, but Trump don't know that. So it's just such a gorgeous transition in from one area of material to another area of material, as well as setting up for an absolutely amazing punchline. Wow, incredible stuff.
Oh, Latin stew. Trying to keep immigrants out. My God. You know, a lot less immigrants would come into America if you stopped paying them $700 million to play baseball. That's right. Steve Cohen bought one Dominican for $700 million. Used to be able to get a whole bushel for that much. I said bushel. In the big story this week, that's right, man. Joe Biden.
Okay, a real nice bit of comedy. I feel it's kind of the same as the Elon Musk before the Jennifer Lopez line. It's kind of, it gets by nicely. It's doing very well with the crowd because the crowd are red hot now. They know that this entire segment is rocking and rolling. And so it's like, look at how the energy now in the room. Of course, when Chris Rock turned out and started this performance, the energy was great because it's Chris Rock. The audience are going to expect a high caliber of comedy. But because he was so informed and it was so great, anything he says now, even the smaller lines when he's creating more tension, are going to get a much better reaction than they were doing at the beginning of his set, because everyone knows no matter how long the tension is created, he's going to be able to pay it off. So therefore, well, there's not much tension anymore. We're all just in this together and we're all laughing, and this is just incredible. All throughout, absolutely incredible. Another reason I don't rate this particular piece of material as high as the others is because I'm Irish and the kind of American sports just goes way over my head. I mean, look at me, for Christ's sake. Here we go, let's move on.
Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. I gotta hand it to Joe, man. You know, he don't move as fast as he used to. He don't talk as fast as he used to. You know, but that middle finger still works, boy.
Yeah. What everyone is thinking. Again, it's not the most genius line Chris has ever come up with, but he's just mentioned it. That's just by mentioning it. If you have something to say about current affairs, and in your mind you think, oh, this is too obvious. I don't want to say this particular line or even this joke because it's just too obvious. Well, say it. Because I think, yeah, he gets a large round of applause. He gets a laugh and a large round of applause. Talk about getting the audience on your side. It's not just about always making them laugh or trying to get to the joke as quick as possible. You're trying to get them on side. So if there's something you want to cover, but you're afraid because, well, everyone is always saying that, I don't just want to be the person up on stage just saying what everyone's already thinking. Say it. Get them on board because, you know, Chris has used this exact thing right here. Everyone kind of feels the same way about the pardoning of the son. Now, what Chris does next is he kind of flips the script a little bit against his idea right now. Let's check it out and then we can discuss
That's
after.
right, man. The people are complaining. Got the nerve to complain.
You see, he just said, well, you know, he's made fun of Joe Biden for pardoning his son. But now he's kind of flipped and said, well, how do people complain about this? Let's move on and see what he has to say about it.
Only an animal would not pardon their son. Oh, my God. Imagine going home to your wife if you didn't pardon your son. Every parent in the world.
That's smart. So if you ever have somebody you're talking about that is of the job position or nearly a larger than life job position. I'm not saying Joe Biden is larger than life, but the job position is ridiculous. By putting it into a context of you going home and dealing with any of the consequences that these kind of people deal with is always going to be funny. It's like if you have a shocking current event story happening and when it turned out that you were doing it, imagine walking home after it was found out. Or any way we can go about this, the bigger the story, the funnier it is if you put it on the audience walking back home and having to deal with the consequences of the family knowing about whatever it is. It's always a fun avenue to go down, and it always works no matter what the current affairs story is.
Would pardon their son, except the parents of the Menendez brothers.
Yes, absolutely brilliant. So people say all the time that you should finish on your strongest joke. You should finish the set with the strongest joke. And if you have the strongest joke and it works out well at the end, then by all means do it. But the saying is not true. It's not set in stone. What Chris has done here is he's chosen to use a callback, a very, very simple callback. Menendez, the only people who wouldn't pardon their son is the Menendez family. So fair enough. Absolutely brilliant. He's kept it basic and it's a real nice kind of a surprise end to the set because as all these comedians, great comedians do, the last joke they have, they set it up, they do the punchline, and as soon as that round of applause comes in, they immediately either finish their set, say thanks, that's my time, see you later, you've been great, and they're off the stage, or of course in Chris Rock's case, he obviously needs to open the show, as they all do so well. And that's it. That's the entire thing. He finishes nicely. He wraps it up with a callback. So, to recap, he's opened up and he's just said a little tiny bit about Saturday Night Live, which what you're going to do is you're going to be in the room, the comedy room, and you're going to say something about the room, about the night, about the host, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Don't have it be too offensive because this is just testing the waters. And then he goes in and he just skimps over a couple of current affairs and sticks on to one. And a lot of the time he's using one idea to get from one current affairs issue to the others. And in this case, for the large part, what Chris has done here is he's used Donald Trump to get from one area of topic to another, while not even mentioning too much about Donald Trump himself. He's just mentioned other things that Donald Trump has mentioned before, and he's used current affairs to connect those bits of material back to Donald Trump. Really, really smart. It just makes the whole thing look like a lovely, one long, lovely transition. And then he's finished with a really nice callback. It's just a pretty much excellent performance on current affairs. That's pretty much what Chris has done here, and he's done it, as I said, well, like one of the greatest of all time. Right, that is the deep dive on that performance. I hope you've benefited from the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Go check out the entire performance that Chris Rock does. It's amazing. I've seen it enough times while making this video. And thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video. There's going to be plenty more coming. And as always, in the comment section, let me know what kind of a video you would like me to make in the future on stand-up comedy, anything at all, and I'll do my best to make it for you. As always, I'll see you on the next video.